Hello, I'm Ian Taylor. This particular screencast is going to just discuss a little bit about the back end of Craft and how things work from a flow and an IP perspective. So I'm going to go through to the Craft menu here. As discussed in other screencasts, there are a couple of different, there's three different functions in this menu. There's a flow view, there's a IP view, and then there's a discussion forum. So in this tutorial, we're going to look at the flow view, but we're going to describe how these files, where this data comes from. And I'm not going to go into detail of the format, but I'm going to show you where it is, where it lives within the project, and also the type of format we use. So if this is a design flow that we can zoom into and introspect and look at the various kind of components as discussed before, but where does this information come from? Well, if you go to the Files tab on any project, this shows a list of files. You can pick up files and drag them into the project, and every project in the Craft repository has this Craft admin folder. And the Craft admin folder has various files in them, contained in them. One is the description, and that description actually is, if we go back to here, if we go back to the home page of the project, this loading project description here, when that is loaded, this is actually a HTML. So if you click on this description, you can kind of edit it. We've got like a lightweight HTML5 editor where you can edit the content. So if we go back to files again, then you can see that this description, so let's take a look at that. That file, that's a HTML file, so what does that look like? Well, you can't view that because they won't allow that to be rendered in the browser for security reasons. However, we can download it. So let's just download that and let's just click on it and see it in the browser. And what we see is the description of the project. So the second file we've got in here is the Craft flow. Now the Craft flow is where the data is stored for the flow. So when we pull the flow and visualize it in that graph view, what it is actually JSON data, data in the JSON format, JavaScript notation, and this describes the flow. So when you talk to us about importing your design flow, what we'll do is kind of figure out the flow that you're using, and then we'll write this. We have tools to be able to write this format in order to construct the flow. And this admin folder is also used. This is also used to store the IP information, and in the same format. Now, there's a few advantages to this approach, and it's kind of important to understand. So when all of this information is stored in files in the repository. Now, the files in the repository, when we make a release, or when we publish. So if we go back to here, there's in this ISI design flow, there's a publish project button here. When we publish a project, then everything in the project is saved. So all of the files in the file system, all of the details of the project, all of the participants and description and everything is stored within that published project. So all of those files that we're creating in order to visualize these flows, these JSON files, they're also stored in the repository. So we don't need any external storage. We can do it all within the back end of the Craft repository. Thank you.